Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. I hope all is well. Welcome into the Hoop Addict, and I just want to thank you guys so much for clicking on this video. And if you do enjoy basketball content and you're addicted to the game of basketball like me, make sure you click that red subscribe button down below and you put that post notification bell on as well so you're alerted anytime I upload a video or maybe go live in the future. So today I'm going to be talking about the state of the Oklahoma City Thunder real quick. And when I take a look at the Oklahoma City Thunder, I do believe Sam Presti does have this plan in place, acquiring all these draft picks for the future. He does a really good job acquiring these first round draft picks. But I always thought about it, yes, you acquire these draft picks, but now it comes down to nailing the picks and utilizing the picks the right way. And yes, I've liked the drafts potentially because, yes, there has to be more. There's gonna have to be some proof in the pudding, when it comes to these draft picks. I like Josh Giddey. I like what he did his rookie year. Obviously, he had hip injury his rookie year, but he's a Houdini with the basketball. He can pass the heck out of the basketball. He has very good basketball IQ. It looks like he's gotten stronger. He's improved a little bit on the defense side of the basketball. Again, it is just summer league though when I'm talking about the improvement defensively, but he has the size. He can look over defenses, and he needs to become more consistent of a finisher though at the basket. Kind of has this herky jerky style of play a little bit. It's kind of unorthodox, but his jump shot obviously needs to improve because I don't want to say this is his ceiling, but right now I look at him as kind of a Ricky Rubio type of player with more upside though because he has the size and he's still young, and I think he has an elite prodigy basketball IQ. I do like Giddey, but he still needs to prove himself moving forward. Chad Holmgren, I like that pick by the Oklahoma City Thunder due to upside, but at the end of the day, Chad Holmgren, he has all this talent. He's a 7 footer or he's 7'1". He can put the ball on the floor. He can shoot it from the outside. His hips are very flexible out there on the floors. His hips move extremely well for someone that size that can defend the perimeter, block shots with both hands. He can distribute the ball. He's literally a unicorn out there. We've heard that phrase since Porzingis has been given that nickname by Kevin Durant, and he talked about it on Jimmy Fallon show. But at the end of the day, how will his frame hold up? I know that may be kind of like a lazy question to you guys, but if you look at the history of the NBA of these 7 footers and up, they've had good years in their NBA careers, or at least when it comes to these types of builds, they've had good years in their NBA careers, but it hasn't been sustained success. They've kind of been held back by injuries. If it's bigger guys like a Yao Ming, 7'5", freak of nature, like at the beginning of his career, where he's had his Hall of Fame years, and then obviously went on to get hurt. Or even Ralph Sampson. He had a few great years at the beginning of his career. The Kings he played with, I believe he played with the Warriors a little bit as well. He was still a solid NBA player, but there was much more to his game. We saw Kristaps Porzingis, he's still a solid NBA player, but when you watched him with the New York Knicks at one point before he got hurt, he was leading the league in scoring. I believe he was more physical, he was more athletic, he ran the floor a lot better. There was more of a fluidity to his game, or even if you're not looking at some of the best players, a Zach Collins, a 7 footer, coming out of Gonzaga, he hasn't been able to stay healthy. It just sucks that these injuries get in players' ways at the end of the day, and how many good years are going to get from a Chad Holmgren, or we haven't even seen him play in an NBA game yet. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, that wasn't a pick by the Oklahoma City Thunder. I like Ousmane Dieng. I liked him coming out of France. Played obviously overseas in New Zealand, the NBL, where LaMelo Ball played, where Giddey played as well. He has some talent, but he's extremely raw. He needs to prove himself. The Jalen Williams picks, Alexis Pokusevski hasn't really worked out. So Shai, you got via trade, originally drafted by the Charlotte Hornets, traded to the Clippers. Clippers trade for Paul George and just give up all these draft picks to the Oklahoma City Thunder. So Shai is a beast. He's a beast. But since they've acquired Shai, they've not been winning basketball games. It makes sense. They're a young team. They're learning how to win games, but are they teaching these young guys how to win games the right way? You bring in an inexperienced head coach, and you need veterans. Yes, I'm not saying to throw a bunch of veterans on this team and just make them, or just take their minutes. And also, you have a guy like Lou Dort, who I really like as well. He's improved offensive player, 17 points per game, very good defensive player. But you bring in an inexperienced head coach. I know he's coached in the league, but not when it comes to the head coaching position. And again, I'm not saying to throw all these veterans out there, but at least add a couple more veterans to this locker room or something like that to teach these young guys and really mold them to have good NBA habits and win games and learn how to close out games down the stretch. And it's also very tricky with this Thunder team. You have Shai, you have Josh Giddey, you even still have Teo Maledon on the squad. They need Again, I said they need some veterans, but how are all these young guys going to manage to get minutes? At some point, one of these guys is going to be traded, like, or a group of these guys or a couple of these guys need to be traded because yes, you have all this draft capital, but you can't just be making picks with all these, like all these picks at the end of the day. And Shea can't just be sitting out of games again. Like, you have to prove to Shea that you're trying to win basketball games and this plan in place is actually going to work for the future. I'm not going to say Sam Presti will be fired next year or the year after that or anything like that, but how much of a leash is there for Sam Presti? Again, he's being called this god with all these draft picks, but we need to see it work out. Maybe you could say I'm rushing the process a little bit. I understand Chet is hurt. I'm not expecting them to win this year, but at some point you have to show that this works to Shea because Shea can get very frustrated at some point. Shea's going to be like, all right, I understand what you're trying to do here, trying to put young basketball players together, trying to build talent, build a longevity, consistent winner, and all that. But I want to win basketball games. I didn't sign a contract here to sit out a majority of games while you guys tank, and tanking doesn't always work out. It doesn't. Everyone's thinking about Victor Wembanyama next to Chet Holmgren. I've made a video on the history. Again, it could be different for these guys. These guys can go on to stay healthy throughout their career. I understand Victor Wembanyama, freakish talent, and the amount of versatility in that front court would be amazing, but who would take on those physical assignments while they're both trying to get stronger? That's a thin front court. Could you rely on that for the future? So if I'm the Oklahoma City Thunder, especially next offseason, when you get Chet Holmgren back, it looks like on paper you have solid young talent, or you have talent for the future. You have Shea, you have Giddey, you have Dort, some people like Baisley, you have Chet Holmgren, you have the Williams, both the Jalen Williams. Maybe you like Pokusevski, maybe you don't. You still have Trey Mann on this roster. You have Ousmane Dieng that's developing. Like, at some point you have to package a couple of those young guys, get their trade value up, and trade for a star. Because in my opinion, that's a damn nice starting five, maybe added with some depth if you believe some of those young guys could be depth, or because they have so many of these picks though, even if they throw a bunch of picks in 4-star, they're still gonna have picks left over. I think that's the kind of the genius thing about Sam Presti. There's a lot to be done here, but if you a lot to be proven, but just think about that. Cause like even if you don't end up getting Victor Wembanyama and you're that bad, I hope they are better this season, but again, they're not going to have Chet this season, and I don't really trust. Like, I like Mike Muscala, I don't love him. And then Jeremiah Robinson Earl, I kind of liked him out of Villanova, showed some solid, like, bright spots or showed some solid potential when it came to his rookie year. But I think Giddey's a lock for the future. I think Shea's a lock for the future. Chet Holmgren's still unproven, even though you hope he's a part of the future. I think Dort is. Obviously, you gave him that contract, which I think is better than people thought. At first, I didn't understand it, and then I saw, like, the details of the contract as well. But at some point, you're going to have to trade for a star. You can't just have a bunch of these young players together, because Josh Giddey's feel for the game, I feel like he could play with anyone. You have Shea, and I feel like you're going to have to find someone at that 3 spot, in my opinion, or at that 4 spot, next to Chad Holmgren. And in my opinion, it shouldn't be through the draft. It should be someone that's proven to win. And I don't know who that next disgruntled star is going to be. But let me know down below your thoughts. Do you believe in the Sam Presti plan? I like making these types of videos sometimes. Sometimes, like, I bring you guys, like, most of the time I bring you guys, like, these edited videos all put together. But sometimes I like giving you guys my rambling thoughts, you know? Might be kind of a series once a week. I just give you guys my rambling thoughts on, like, a topic at the top of my head. But yeah, let me know down below your thoughts. I really appreciate your support. Peace out, y'all.